So guys, the moment we've all been waiting for is finally here. The Dallas Cowboys have officially arrived in Oxnard, and you can already tell this team is coming in with a completely different mindset. The energy, confidence, and motivation is hard to miss from the moment the players arrive. Dak Prescott, in particular, made one of the most stylish arrivals of the day, and what he showed immediately caught everyone's attention. On top of that, several Cowboys players also spoke with the media for the first time, and some of their answers are already generating plenty of discussion heading into camp. So, we're going to break down what Dak quietly showed everyone, why it could say a lot about this team's mentality, and some of the biggest takeaways from the players' first media sessions as training camp officially gets underway. What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Alright, so let's get into it because this year feels different. The Cowboys touched down in Oxnard, and honestly, this partnership with the city goes back 20 years now, so at this point it's basically a second home for this organization. The team isn't even hitting the field until Wednesday, and today, Jerry Jones is holding his annual State of the Cowboys address. So we already know the storylines are going to start piling up fast before anybody even puts on pads. But before any of that, Dak Prescott already said something without opening his mouth once, and honestly, it might end up being the biggest talking point out of day one. Here's what happened. Dak showed up on day one wearing a Super Bowl shirt from 1996. That's the last time this franchise actually won it all. Think about that for a second. He didn't post a hype video. He didn't cut a promo. He didn't say a single word to a camera. He just walked in wearing that shirt, and honestly, that's louder than any press conference could ever be. I mean, out of everything that could have grabbed attention on the first day of camp, it's a quarterback quietly wearing an old shirt that's got everybody talking. Brian Schottenheimer has been talking about this all off-season, about setting the bar at the top, about not settling for almost, about building a team that actually competes for it all instead of just talking about it. And on the very first day, his quarterback shows up dressed like a walking reminder of exactly what this whole thing is supposed to be about. I mean, you can't script that kind of statement, right? That's a guy who already knows what the room needs to hear before a single word gets said, and honestly, that's the kind of quiet leadership that sets a tone for an entire camp. And look, Jerry Jones is stepping up to the podium today for that State of the Cowboys address, and you already know how these things usually go. Jerry's going to talk his usual talk. He's going to hype up the roster. He's going to give you that classic Jerry confidence he gives every single year around this time. But honestly, this year it feels a little different hearing it because the quarterback already backed it up with actions before Jerry even opened his mouth. Usually it's the other way around. Jerry says something big and then everybody waits around to see if the team actually shows it once the pads come on. This time, Dak already showed you the mindset first, so whatever Jerry says today is really just going to be confirming something we already saw with our own eyes. Now, once the players actually got in front of reporters, that's where things got interesting too, because we started getting our first real glimpse into how this team is approaching camp mentally. Malik Hooker was one of the guys who spoke, and honestly, I thought what he said was pretty telling. He talked about how the returning veterans, guys like Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, guys who've already been through the grind here, are really focused on putting in the repetition with the younger players. Not just showing up and doing their own thing, but actually bringing the young guys along with them, teaching them the little things that don't get talked about on broadcasts. That's culture building right there, and it's the kind of thing that doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but ends up mattering in December when games start getting tight and rookies need to trust what they've been taught. Hooker also touched on something that I think is honestly one of the more underrated storylines of this whole camp, which is the new defensive coordinator. He described Christian Parker as young but sharp, somebody who already understands this division inside and out because they faced this team twice a year for a while now. And look, that familiarity works both ways, but it also means this isn't some outsider walking in blind trying to figure out the division on the fly. Hooker even brought up how some of these concepts connect back to what they were seeing out of Philly on defense, which tells you the staff has been building off stuff they already installed back in OTAs. So it's not like they're starting from zero here. They're layering on top of a foundation that's already in place, and now it's about putting it all together before the season actually starts. I like hearing that from a veteran defensive back because it means the locker room already trusts the direction things are heading even this early. And honestly, that trust matters more than people realize, because a scheme change can go one of two ways early in camp. Either the players are confused and fighting the installation the whole time, or they buy in fast and it starts clicking before the season even starts. Based on how Hooker talked about it, sounds like it's the second option, and that's exactly what you want to hear from a guy who's actually out there running it every single day. Tyler Smith spoke on the young guys too, and honestly, he sounded genuinely fired up about it. He said the team made a lot of good moves this offseason, especially on the defensive side, and that he thinks it's going to pay off. He also said he's seen a lot of these young guys grinding through OTAs, and he's noticed they've got a lot of juice, a lot of energy, exactly what you want heading into a camp like this. He also brought up a rookie who came from his own alma mater, Ohio State, saying he's been watching that guy from a distance for a while now and that he's already a great player in his own right even before stepping foot on an NFL practice field. Simple message really, just come in, compete, be yourself, and the rest takes care of itself. That's the kind of quote that doesn't grab headlines, but it tells you the vets are already buying into what these young guys bring to the room. Now let's get into the part that's actually been stirring up some noise this week, because you already know the media loves to find a storyline even when there isn't really one sitting there. Tyler Smith got asked point blank whether he's staying at guard or possibly kicking out to tackle this camp. And look, Tyler handled it exactly the way you'd want a professional to handle it. He basically said, we'll see what happens, that ultimately it's Schottenheimer's call, and that wherever he ends up lining up, he's going to go out there and play to the best of his ability. He was straight up honest too, saying he hasn't been told anything one way or the other. That's it. That's the whole story. No drama, no discontent, just a guy answering a loaded question the way a true professional is supposed to answer it, without giving anybody a headline to run with. But here's the thing, that answer alone got twisted into this whole narrative about Tyler Guyton possibly getting replaced at left tackle, like something's actually shaky over there. And honestly, I don't see it. This entire offensive line, outside of Terence Steele, is full of young guys who haven't even hit their physical prime yet in this league. They haven't gotten the full benefit of NFL strength programs, NFL coaching, none of it. They're still growing into their bodies and their roles. The trajectory on this group has been trending up, not down, week over week, rep over rep. So why would you go looking to shake things up on a unit that's actually heading in the right direction? It doesn't add up to me. If anything, locking Terence Steele in long term tells you the front office is thinking continuity, not some surprise shuffle at tackle right before the season. You don't mess with something that's improving, you let it keep improving, and you let these guys keep building chemistry as a group instead of forcing change for the sake of change. And honestly, that ties right back into what Tyler Smith said in a separate conversation too, when he talked about this team's Super Bowl aspirations. He didn't hedge on it. He called it extremely realistic, which, coming from a guy in the trenches who sees exactly what this roster looks like up close every single day, that means something. That's not some outsider making a bold claim for clicks. That's a starter, telling you what he actually believes walking into camp. And honestly, when the guys in the building start talking like that before a single practice has even happened, it usually means something real is building underneath the surface. You put that next to what Dak silently said with that 1996 shirt, and you start to see a pattern forming here. This isn't a locker room full of guys hoping for a good season and crossing their fingers. This is a group that's already talking and dressing like they expect to be playing deep into February, and honestly, that kind of confidence from the inside means a lot more to me than anything a reporter can spin from the outside. So that's where we're at heading into the real start of camp. You've got a quarterback who made his intentions known without saying a word. You've got veterans already putting in work with the young guys, a new defensive mind who already knows this division cold, and an offensive line that's trending up instead of falling apart no matter what narrative the outside noise wants to push. It's still early, camp hasn't even officially kicked off yet. Practice doesn't start until Wednesday. But if day one is any indication, this team already knows exactly what it's chasing this year, and honestly, that's a good sign for where this whole camp is headed. Alright, that's going to do it for this one. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our Oxnard coverage, because trust me, we're only just getting started here, and there's going to be a lot more to break down once pads actually come on Wednesday. We've got Jerry's address happening today, and we've got the first real practices coming right after that. And honestly, based on everything we saw and heard on day one, I think this camp is going to give us a lot to talk about all the way through. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know what you think about that offensive line conversation, whether you're buying the hype around this defense, and whatever you do. Don't sleep on what Dak just showed everybody without saying a single word. That's the kind of thing that sticks with the locker room long after the cameras stop rolling. I'll catch you in the next one, Cowboys Nation.